Martin Odegaard's early exit sent a ripple through Emirates Stadium that felt much bigger than a substitution. After only 18 minutes, he clutched his shoulder and walked off the pitch, replaced by teenager Ethan Wainwright, and the stadium that had been humming with confidence suddenly quieted. What looked like a routine challenge became a moment of collective unease, because Odegaard is more than Arsenal's playmaker. He is the heartbeat of their build-up, the man who ties midfield to attack and carries the burden of decisions in the final third. Mikel Arteta was blunt after the match. It looks worryingly similar to the shoulder trouble that forced him off after the Leeds game, and medical staff would take centre stage in the hours to come to find out whether this was a minor scare or the kind of recurrence that could disrupt a title push. There's an immediate practical problem: set pieces through balls, the tone of Arsenal's pressing, and then there's the intangible loss of leadership on the pitch, the calming voice that organises a high-tempo side when pressure mounts. Alongside Odegaard's setback came another sign that Arteta's selection headaches are only getting worse. William Saliba, who reappeared in training as a promising signal, was left out of the matchday squad. At first glance, that looks like good news. He was back in training, but the decision to withhold him from the team is a deliberate, cautious choice that underlines a bigger calculation. Arteta is balancing fixture congestion, the physical cost of minutes on players who have already carried heavy loads, and the risk of a small problem becoming a long absence. Saying he trained but wasn't ready is not a throwaway line. It's an admission that the staff are thinking in weeks and months, not just the immediate 90 minutes. When the manager chooses caution over a short-term gamble, it reveals where the club draws its line between risk and reward, and in this phase of the season, small margins matter. That decision also thrust a spotlight onto Arsenal's depth. Ethan Wainwright's introduction was welcome for his calm on the ball and the buzz that comes when a homegrown youngster fills a senior role, but one substitute cannot replace the tactical nuance and consistency a cap provides. The team now faces a short stretch of fixtures that do not allow for lengthy recoveries. Every training session, scan and medical update will be scrutinised because the calendar amplifies every problem. Two huge fixtures loom, and the whole squad must answer whether it can keep the same intensity and creativity without its midfield. The answer depends not only on how Odegaard responds to treatment and whether Saliba is truly back to full fitness, but on how Arteta reshuffles roles, who steps into leadership positions, and whether the younger players can cope with the pressure of sustained, high-level competition. Beyond tactics, there is a psychological component. Fans who had been buoyant at the start of the season now face the spectre of fragility. A captain's injury invites worry about momentum, as often the currency that decides races. Arteta's public composure suggests a plan is being formed behind closed doors, but supporters know the fine line between confidence and complacency. If scans confirm a recurrence, the club will have to manage not just the physical rehabilitation but the narrative, reassuring a fan base that recovery, adaptation and resilience are in place. If scans are clear and Odegaard is back quickly, the episode becomes a test of crisis management and depth. If the worst materializes, it will be an inflection point that forces tactical reinvention and perhaps a reliance on rotation, youth and different leadership dynamics. What happens next will define the coming weeks. The medical bulletin, the training reports, Arteta's team selections, and how the dressing room responds when a familiar voice is temporarily absent. This is not the kind of scare that can be waved away with a couple of replacements. It forces a club to confront its structure and readiness for prolonged pressure at the top. For Arsenal, the immediate task is straightforward and brutal. Get accurate medical answers, manage minutes cleverly, and keep belief intact while the staff make decisions that will determine whether this is a blip or a turning point. For the fans, for the players who must step up, and for a manager whose choices will be measured in points and in calmness under fire, the next 72 hours matter as much as any single match.